Once a sage visited Ramakrishna's village, Tummaluru. All the villagers worshipped him and sought his blessings. Ramakrishna met the sage and impressed him with his intelligence. The sage predicted that Ramakrishna would become a great scholar and poet. He told Ramakrishna, "I will teach you divine mantras to please Goddess Kali. If you recite these mantras in the temple, the goddess will appear before you and bless you and grant a wish." Ramakrishna started learning the mantras and, being an intelligent person, within no time gained mastery over them. When the time was right, he took his leave from the sage and decided to go to the temple that night. Without informing anyone, he left the house, taking only a lamp with him. The temple of Goddess Kali was situated on the city outskirts. Making certain that no one followed him, Ramakrishna went inside the temple. It was pitch dark in the temple, so he held up the lamp and saw Kali's idol. He prostrated before the goddess, offered his prayers, and sat down. Closing his eyes and with utmost devotion, he started reciting the mantras loudly. Except for the sound of Ramakrishna's voice and gentle breeze, there was pin-drop silence everywhere. At one point, the gentle breeze escalated and turned slightly rough. The lamp went out and the whole area was covered in darkness. All these external forces did not deter Ramakrishna's prayers. Suddenly, a flash of lightning struck the temple, followed by a loud sound. Ramakrishna opened his eyes upon hearing the sound. Lo, behold! Goddess Kali stood in front of Ramakrishna with all her 1,000 heads. Her mouths were wide open, revealing the red tongues and her big teeth. Even though it was an awful sight of the goddess, with the red flames spitting from her eyes, Ramakrishna stood staring at her for a few minutes. Suddenly, he began to laugh. Puzzled by his behavior, the goddess asked him, "What is so funny, Ramakrishna? Why are you laughing?" Ramakrishna apologized and said, "Ma, I have a small doubt. Even though I have one head, one nose, and 2 hands, I find it difficult to clean my nose if I catch a cold. Whereas with 1,000 noses and only 2 hands, how are you managing?" I could not help laughing just by thinking about the hardship you face while cleaning so many noses with only 2 hands. Goddess Kali too laughed at his joke and said, "Ramakrishna, I like your sense of humor. I have come to grant you a wish." She held 2 golden bowls in her hands and said, "Look, I have 2 bowls in my hand. Both the bowls are filled with milk. Upon drinking milk from one bowl, you would acquire great knowledge of the world. The other bowl contains milk which would give you wealth. But you can choose only one bowl, so think carefully and pick one." Rama stayed silently and thought, "With my intelligence, I learned mantras from the sage. I even satisfied the goddess. Now is the time for me to act wisely and take a proper decision. I might not get this opportunity again." Suddenly, a bright idea struck him, and he replied, "Ma, can I taste both before drinking them? Without knowing the taste, how can I choose the correct one?" The goddess agreed and gave him both the bowls. Before the goddess Kali could realize what Ramakrishna was doing, he drank from both the bowls. The goddess became annoyed with his behavior. Immediately after drinking, Ramakrishna, with clasped hands, bowed his head and said humbly, "I am sorry, Ma. I want both wealth and knowledge. I could not choose either of the two because there is no use of wealth without knowledge and knowledge without wealth. These two are important for a person to lead a meaningful life." The displeased goddess said, "Why did you drink from both the bowls when I asked you to choose only one? You have to face the consequence of disobeying me. Therefore, I curse you to become a jester." Hearing this, Ramakrishna begged the goddess to show mercy on him and said, "Ma, please don't say that. I want to become a great poet and scholar. But why should I alone be blamed for this? You are equally at fault, because had you shown me only one bowl instead of two, this situation would never have happened." Goddess Kali was impressed by his quick thinking and intelligence and blessed him, saying, "You would not only become a jester, but also a great poet and scholar. But people will recognize you only as a good jester." Saying this, the goddess disappeared. Ramakrishna, pleased with goddess Kali's boon, thanked her wholeheartedly.